NTA International News.
PDP presidential candidate promises continued support for women participation as campaign train goes to the southwest, just as APC presidential standard bearer inaugurates campaign council. INEC Electoral Institute holds Train the Trainers workshop ahead of February-January elections. And Nigerians in the diaspora optimistic of a violence-free election next month. Hello, welcome to NTA International News this hour. I'm Nancy Godi. We start with election campaigns. President Goodluck Jonathan has promised continued support for women participation in governance in Nigeria. He said this in Ibadan, Oyo State, southwest Nigeria, at the PDP presidential campaign rally. Kemi Fakeye reports that the president also assured the people of the state that the renovation of the Ibadan airport will be completed on the scheduled time.
Makpo Hall, Ibadan, venue of the rally, was filled with PDP stalwarts and supporters from across Oyo State who came to show their solidarity with PDP standard bearers in the February elections. President Goodluck Jonathan, who is the presidential standard bearer, said his modest achievements in all spheres of the economy have positively touched the lives of Nigerians, irrespective of their culture, language, and religion. He paid tributes to leaders of Ibadan and Southwest in general who have made their marks in all facets of human endeavors, thanking the people of Oyo State for their support in 2011.
Today I'm here again asking you for your support, and I'm sure that talking to you in this great Makpo Hall today, you will surely support us and will be victorious. Under what we call the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals alone, we have done so many projects that I cannot enumerate them. Under the third fund, the Tertiary Education Fund, we have spent over 10 billion in intervening in tertiary institutions in Oyo State alone, federal and state. We have done a number of projects under the Universal Basic Education in this state. The Petroleum Technology Development Fund has trained so many people. I've asked them to give us a comprehensive list so you know some young ladies, some young men as pilots and other technical areas. With me that the train line, the narrow gauge, taken from Ibadan to Lagos to Kano, has been completed and people are traveling from Ibadan through Lagos to Kano. And we know that Ibadan-Lagos is critical, so we are working very hard to complete the standard gauge line for fast movement of people through the rail from Ibadan to Lagos. We have now tripled the volume of cocoa we are producing in this country. Because of agricultural transformation, we are improving on the cassava. We have tripled. We are now the biggest producers of cassava, because we know that this is the only
21st century compliant president. Don't a 21st century president, number one, Ogudo Kawe Daju.
Our president is a very young, energetic, humble, highly educated, young president.
Other highlights of the rally was the presentation of the PDP flag to Teslim Balogun, the party's standard bearer for governorship election. Kemi Fakeye.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party's presidential and governorship campaign train has moved to Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. At the campaign rally in Abeokuta, President Goodluck Jonathan urged the people to vote for the PDP in order to have more schools and health facilities in the area. We bring you details of this report in our subsequent bulletins. And still towards the presidential election in February 2015, standard bearers of political parties continue to sell their manifestos to the electorate with reassurance of refocusing governance to have more impact on Nigerians. Ronke Kolawore spoke with some of the presidential candidates in Abuja.
A peculiar feature of electioneering period is the ability of political candidates to outdo one another in telling the electorate in strong terms their plans to improve their loads. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, did not mince words in telling Nigerians
we don't have a policy. We have to implement and institutionalize policies. That's what we want to go and showcase to the Nigerian people.
On his part, the presidential candidate of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, ACPN, pledges to stamp out hunger and joblessness by investing massively on the agricultural sector.
If you can give incentive to people, encourage our farmers, joblessness will be reduced to a very large extent because farming will be made attractive for the younger generation to embark in farming.
The standard bearers appeal to Nigerians to trust in the ability of INEC to conduct free and fair election. Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
In the same vein, the All Progressives Congress, APC, presidential standard bearer has inaugurated a 50-member presidential campaign council in Abuja. General Buhari urges the campaign council to ensure a landslide victory at the presidential poll next month. Correspondent Gabriel Odu reports.
The APC presidential candidate commended all members of the campaign council for accepting to work as a team and called on all party elders, leaders and supporters to sensitize the electorate to vote for the APC to effect the desired change.
We are a united party, and united we shall remain because our strength lies in our unity. We shall deliver on every of our promises.
Party stalwarts believe that the APC is hopeful of winning in the general elections, given the party's people-oriented programs.
All politicians across the parties to ensure violence-free campaign activities.
To our electorate to collect their PVCs and to vote very, very wisely.
Out and vote, defend your vote. The people have to show that the power is in their hands to bring about change.
Make sure we get it and ensure on one man, one vote.
The APC presidential standard bearer, General Muhammad Buhari, also called on council members and party supporters to ensure that the campaigns are issue-based, devoid of violence. From the General Muhammadu Buhari campaign headquarters here in Abuja, Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
In another development, the role and responsibilities of political party agents on election day are engaging the attention of politicians ahead of the 2015 elections. This was at a Train the Trainers workshop organized by the INEC Electoral Institute and the International Republican Institute holding in Abuja. Correspondent Muhammad Abdul Kadri reports.
Election manual used for the 2011 elections has undergone total alterations and changes by stakeholders towards meeting contemporary challenges to reduce likely errors in the nation's electoral process, especially in the February elections. It is in the light of the fundamental policies introduced into the electoral document that necessitated the interface between the umpire and the key players in the political sector.
We don't want friction, we don't want rancor, and we don't want attrition and altercation on the day of voting. So this is why we are trying to do this, to upscale and improve the credibility and quality of electoral service delivery in 2015 general elections.
The Electoral Commission tries to, improve on its job every day.
We are doing something great. Electoral Institute is a very great institution.
It's a wonderful idea because we have to improve on our electoral system.
We're all involved in trying to do everything we can to have a very credible, free and fair elections.
Amendments made on electoral guidelines and procedures have been done for the 5th time through consensus, with the documents running into about 86 pages. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Youth and Student Matters, Jude Imagwe, has told Nigerian youth to be vigilant and not to allow themselves to be used as agents of violence and destabilization. He was reacting to political violence in Plateau and Rivers states while briefing the media. Correspondent Aliu Tukuru has more.
While condemning the violence which led to the burning of party buses and secretariat in Plateau and Rivers State, Comrade Emagwe admonished youth to shun violence and also appealed to those perpetrating such activities to stop henceforth. The presidential aide, who called on youth to be properly guided at this critical time of decision-making for Nigeria, advised them to vote for continuity, development, more youth empowerment and employment programs by President Goodluck Jonathan.
I appeal to all young men and women to holistically look at the achievement of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan from 2011 to 2014, and as we move into this 2015 election, it is clear enough to understand the fact that government have actually done unprecedentedly in all sectors, and government requires their support to consolidate on the steps they have taken, so Nigeria too will be a country of the envy of all, and every other people across the world too.
Comrade Emagwe also called on Nigerians to join hands with security agencies to end the current security challenges in the country. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
As political activities gather momentum ahead of Nigeria's February general elections, Nigerians in the diaspora, United Kingdom, have expressed optimism of a violence-free election. A cross-section of the diasporans who spoke to correspondent Bilkisu Abdurazak Oduoye on their expectations of the forthcoming elections appealed to Nigerians to go out and vote for candidates of their choice.
With diasporans remitting about £1 billion annually to Nigeria, keeping abreast of development back home, they say, is important for love of country and kith and kin. They speak on impressions of the electioneering campaign so far.
I think so far so good. Currently,
because at the moment I don't think all the political parties are actually talking about their manifesto, what they are going to do for the Nigerian, and that is important.
I think that so far we've got to be very careful from my observations.
A free and fair election, respondents say, is possible. They speak on expectations for the forthcoming elections.
Clean and peaceful election, non-violent, and I would expect a fair process. From what I've seen, it seems like that's the direction that they're going in.
To see elections without violence, we actually had Romanian elections a few months ago. I know Nigerians do not have diaspora elections at the moment, and they are working towards that. And yes, I want to see fair elections, and I would encourage everyone to go to vote, actually.
They are going to cast their vote on the basis of the manifestos of each of the political parties.
And let people speak to their vote. And I don't think people should be bribing electorate anyway.
Politicians and their followers are advised to see Nigeria beyond the election period.
Politics is not a life and death warfare. It's about the common good of a nation and our country, Nigeria.
So it shouldn't be, if I don't get it, riots, killing one another. So it's not the way politics should be played anyway.
In London, Bilkisu Abdurazak Oduoye, NTA News.
This is news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. For a review of the top stories, we told you that PDP presidential standard bearer Goodluck Jonathan has promised continued support for women participation in governance. As the campaign train had a stop in Ibadan, southwest Nigeria, just as you heard that APC presidential standard bearer has inaugurated the party's campaign council in Abuja. And coming after the break, House of Representatives to resume plenary Tuesday after the Christmas and New Year break. And need for Nigerian doctors to update their knowledge and be intellectually equipped, stressed, as 2015 Health Week opens in Abuja. Details of these and more after the break.
Nigeria, we the people decree that the power of evil secrecy shall fail.
All Nigerians should understand that a divided Nigeria can only mean catastrophic consequences for the entire black race.
We all African countries count on you, and you're our beacon of hope.
That when Nigeria sneezes, all of us will catch cold.
All of us who look to Nigeria for lessons and inspiration
never cease to thank God for this wonderful gift to Africa.
Nigeria enjoys the respect, the admiration, the friendship, and the hope of an entire continent.
The powerhouse of Africa.
Nigeria.
Unite and build Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria.
A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
It's out. Your #1 indispensable daily companion, TV Guide. This last quarter 2014 edition will simply blow your mind. It's digitization fever in the broadcasting industry. How ready are we? Africast and MidCon 2014 have come and gone. Lots of lessons learned. Good Morning Nigeria and My Music and I, 2 new scintillating programs on NTA Network. Ibrahim Adra from radio to television. He is bringing it. Is the cell phone killing the traditional wristwatches? Find out on TV Guide. Two-Face Idibia and Victor Olaya. The new collaborates with the old. And now on our cover is our own mother of Nollywood, Joke Silva. This auntie next door has so much to say. TV Guide. Buy one and give one to a friend. TV Guide. Available nationwide.
Thank you for being there. Still gearing towards February elections. As support structures are being stepped up for the success of the 2015 elections, supporters of the Jonathan administration are offering prayers and supplications for the success of the crucial polls. A delegation led by the Minister of Special Duties, Kabiru Taminu Turaki, was at the Reverend Madinatul Kaulak in Senegal to seek divine intervention for a smooth exercise. Ahmad Ambali reports.
Hands defying the chill of the night. This is Madinatul Kaulak in Senegal, the birthplace of Sheikh Ibrahim Niasse, and the event is the celebration of the birth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Faithful have come from across the West African region and as far as Pakistan. From Nigeria, a powerful delegation led by the Minister of Special Duties arrives with a message of solidarity, just as it seeks prayers to bring peace to West Africa in general and Nigeria in particular. But that is not the only prayer point.
The issue of peace in Nigeria. Even before we came, the Sheikh had directed a special prayer session to be carried out for Nigeria in our fight against insurgency, in our bid to hold a peaceful and transparent election in our country.
The head of the delegation assures of the continued cordial relationship between Nigeria and Senegal. He adds that the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan will continue to support all religious organizations whose goal is to promote inter-religious harmony. For Nigerians, as the polls draw near, the delegation gives this message.
And we believe with the good governance of President Goodluck Jonathan, we'll even see a more credible election coming in 2015.
Commitment towards the development of our country.
The delegation has since returned to Abuja. From Madinatul Kaulak in Senegal, Ahmed Ambali, NTA News.
And Nigerians have been urged to support the re-election bid of President Goodluck Jonathan in order to consolidate on the achievements recorded so far. United Summit Friends Development Association made the appeal when they visited the grand patron of the association in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday was there and now reports.
The group described President Goodluck Jonathan as a leader who is working silently and transforming all sectors of the economy.
In deepening democracy, in infrastructural development, he has also done a lot in youth development, getting women in government. He's done quite a lot in agriculture and also in education.
Grand patron of the association says there is no better time to make progress in the nation than now. Hence, the need to support President Jonathan.
You know what happened in France? And if you watch, the reaction was not against their government. Reaction was against the terrorists themselves. For those who have gone around the country, they know that Jonathan has done so much. What people who had been presidents for 8 years could not do, he has done it in 3 years. Nigerians have to re-elect him, and I know they will re-elect him.
Many youths have benefited from the transformation agenda, as a matter of fact. Today you can see through sport, through entertainment industry, you see many youths are being given opportunity.
The group added that the unity and development of the nation is paramount, and that the performance of President Jonathan informed their decision to support his continuity. In Abuja, Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
And now talking legislative issues. The House of Representatives is expected to reconvene plenary on Tuesday. Intellectually equipped in their field of specialization is the essence of the 2015 Health Week Scientific Conference holding in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Correspondent Basi Taima reports that the conference has as its theme rational use of antibiotic in the intensive care unit.
The treatment of any patient with any ailment depends on the results of the diagnosis carried out on the patient. This scientific conference is therefore focusing attention on the current trend in the diagnosis of sepsis, a viral infection that is caused by organisms with no specific symptoms.
It's a way of updating the doctors on the recent events and recent trends in the diagnosis of sepsis, and at the same time updating them to be wary of antibiotic use.
So for you to know the antibiotic that you want to use, you have to know exactly what you're going to treat. So you must make a diagnosis first so that you won't just use any kind of antibiotic, and at the end of the day, the patient has resistance to the drugs and you fall into trouble.
Guest speakers at the event reminded the medical doctors of the effect of wrong usage of antibiotics and the need for proper diagnosis before prescribing any treatment.
As a matter of fact, if you're able to stop sepsis early enough, there will be no sequelae, no residual damage to the body.
We want doctors to have the proper knowledge of the antibiotics to use, because time is of essence on present ICU, so we don't go do mumbo jumbo. You should know the right antibiotics to use and hit the infecting agents. So the earlier the patient comes out from ICU, the better for everybody.
The one-week conference is being attended by doctors from the 36 states of the country and Abuja.
And before we go, sports. Baller of the Year, Yaya Toure hails home-based Eagles despite loss to Elephants of Côte d'Ivoire as world number 8 Caroline Wozniacki pulls out of Australian Open. Kenema Bodike has more on Sports Update.
Reigning African Footballer of the Year, Yaya Toure, who captained the Elephants of Côte d'Ivoire against home-based Super Eagles Sunday in Abu Dhabi, has praised the resilience of the Nigerian side, which was put together in a space of 9 days. Toure, who had a chat with coach Daniel Amokachi, said the Elephants were relieved at the blast of the last whistle, having snatched a goal at the nick of time. The Manchester City midfielder further expressed optimism that the Eagles will turn giant killers if more time is given to the players to blend. World number 8 Caroline Wozniacki pulled out of her first round match at the Sydney International with a wrist injury on Monday, just a week before the start of the Australian Open. The 24-year-old Dane, who lost the final of the Auckland Classic on Saturday, had already had her left wrist strapped when she was forced to retire at 6-4, 1-1 down to Barbora Zalavovo-Strikova of Czech Republic. In boxing, a date for the much-anticipated fight between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and 8th Division World Champion Manny Pacquiao is expected to be announced before the end of January 2015. It is most likely that the bout will hold in Las Vegas, United States of America, on the 2nd of May. Reports, however, suggest that while the venue has been agreed, there are still disagreements over the split of the purse. The dream matchup between the undefeated American Mayweather Jr. and the Congressman Pacquiao was first mooted several years ago. With Sports Update, Kenema Bodike, NTA News.
And that Sports Update marks the end of the news. Thank you for watching.